We had come for the mention of the cases that were not heard by the judiciary concerning the purported impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua and the purported ascendancy to the Deputy President's position of Honorable Abraham Kithure Kindiki. Now, our petition was not heard through to the deliberate sabotage by the judiciary to purport that on the 4th of June, when the case was supposed to be heard, that the case was due for mention. The judges have said today that there was supposed to be communication to me, which they didn't verify, and that I should have been notified that the case would not take off for hearing on that day and that it would come for mention today. Wonder of wonders, I tell the judges that, look, you've already rendered yourselves in the main petition, E565 of 2024, in which you have said that the impeachment was purportedly correct and in line with the Constitution and the law of the Senate, and yet you have fined the Senate 50 million shillings for that supposed impeachment. In our petition, we say that there was no impeachment in the first place. And we have said that according to Article 145.1 and Article 145.2, the threshold required to impeach a president and a deputy president is that all the members of the National Assembly have to be present, either voting yes or no to that impeachment. You cannot have 291 members and saying you have a full house. The adjective used is all. Unless they understand and perceive the adjective in the English language all to be different, our petition raised that issue. They chose and elected not to hear us. They chose and elected to determine that petition, raising that ground on the threshold and alleging that it was constitutional. Unless they're not reading that part of the constitutional right, which we invited them to do, and they rejected, and now they have pushed us to the 29th of September. After they have decided on it, it can only be said that the judiciary is running away and escaping from its constitutional mandate and duty and responsibility. Wonder of wonders, in that judgment, after it was rendered, or before it was rendered, just at the moment of commencement, their lordships and her leadership told the Kenyan people, and indeed the entire world, this judgment we're about to read is going to be long. You better see it in for the long haul. It's 350 pages. 350 pages. Ladies and gentlemen, that came from the tulips. And they commenced reading until 8 p.m. But somehow, by a twang of circumstance, they have a 286-page judgment. So I tell them, wait. When you told us it was 350 pages, and we listened to you with the contradictions therein, today we have a judgment that is 286 pages. And they say, you know, some of us have glasses. You know, some of us you read in different fonts. So you can't blame us if we were reading with large fonts. And finally now we have small fonts. Kenya people have to wonder what sort of a judiciary does tell you that we have a judgment ready for 350 pages. But after the fact, after the hullabaloo and the noise that the Kenyan people say that, wait, what sort of a judgment have you rendered? They gave us a 286 page. What did they slice off? An excision in terms of 64 pages from that judgment. What is it that they are afraid the Kenyan people are going to see in that judgment? Did they skip reading those 64 pages? Or have they doctored now their final judgment? But the judges told us, you don't need to question us about 350 pages that we told you of, and now you have 286 pages. We are living in a country that does not give any precedence to the principle of transparency, honesty, and integrity. And so I told their lordships and her leadership, please recuse yourselves. Get off hearing this case because you no longer can be fair and cannot be objective. You've already rendered your judgment.
which you say shifted, mysteriously, somehow mutated from a 350 page to a 286. And they say that, well, we will not recuse ourselves. We will hear you on the September 29th and 30th. And we're going to hear you online. They will hear these petitions online. And then they say, his petition was never heard. Her petition was never heard. And then they tell us, do joint submissions. Joint submissions. From whence do you get those sort of directions? Then they say that you will be heard online. We cannot hear you in open court. I don't know what they're afraid of. That we will come to open court just like everybody else who was heard in open court. And that will be heard online. Now, you know the online system, that the systems fail. In the first place, this petition was blocked through that online system. Now, Article 50, sub-article 2D of the Constitution says that every person has a right to be heard in a court of law constituted under the Constitution. In public, open court. Now, your electronic gadget is not a court. Being in an office or a bedroom is not a court. This is a structure the taxpayer is paying to maintain on a daily basis. Close a courthouse. Railroad everybody online and tell them that use your gadget. Let's go through a colonizer's platform called Zoom or any other platform. Forget about your structure here that you're paying and you've designated as a courthouse. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have in terms of rendering of judgment. My question is, and my question to them was, now that you've already rendered your judgment in the Gachagua so-called impeachment, and I've shown you that they could never have met the threshold, are you going to depart from your judgment that you've already seen? How intellectually honest is that? There is intellectual dishonesty, apart from judicial mischief and dishonesty. Well, but they say, we will hear you online. And you can predict that those are not people who are minded to give you fairness or justice at all. Now, if our judiciary is serving some other political interest and not justice, and that we are paying tax money for that, then we better close the courthouses. And we be told that it is a decision that is made prior to you coming to court. Don't even bother coming to court because it is a predetermined decision. That's the impression. That's the impression.
The impeachment of the former deputy president, regarding Gachagua, I can state it as a normal Kenyan. It's injustice in one way or another. Why do I say injustice? There is no way you are consolidated to be had all files together. Then the judges decide, the four of them remove them, let's hear maybe 46. What is in the four files that you are scared to be had with the rest? And to make this clear, ours is very clear as women. We said, as long as the parliament and the Senate say that every constitution or institution must have 1/3 of the gender or 2/3 gender rule, which means clearly to any Kenyan, if you're 300 in this house, at least 100 should be of the opposite gender. That means if you're 300, 200 can be men, 100 women. Or 200 women, 100 men. We all know whether they are 349. If we do at that, we don't have 117 women in parliament. So we are looking at the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Do we have 117 people in parliament? We don't have 117 women. So if they say they brought in 290, let's even give them 300. 300 at that is just 100. We don't have 100 women in parliament. And with following that clause already shows that the impeachment of the deputy president, the former deputy president, did not follow the Constitution of 2010. And as I like this, there is a norm that this court normally uses when we women, we fight for the 2/3 gender. They tell you it's the work of the parliament to implement. It's an institution. It started from 2010. We are now in 2026. We are being told it's an institution that it's still implementing to that gender. You already saw the way they did with David Maranga ruling of dissolving the parliament. They said it was unlawful. Who changes such a ruling that is in our constitution, yet we know these courts should be guided by our constitution to give justice. So me, I'll end up there. We have been given a hearing, but we know whether you give us a hearing, we'll just leave it as it is to get directions from our partners on what else to do. But I can tell Kenyans, if Parliament, they're not following the truth agenda, then let them allow us not to follow the truth agenda. There's not the aim you be elected in a board and you're told to that agenda. There is no need we come to 2027 if there is no to that agenda. We need to tell women, this time it's woman to woman. Let's fill that parliament. Let the men struggle for space. And we are moving to that direction. So it's either we sort it now before we go to the critical point of to that agenda. Thank you.
The petition that is before court for our client raised issues, some of which were decided in the earlier petition and some which are not decided yet. We have agreed that we will proceed with the hearing of the undecided issues, but for now we will abandon the issues which are already decided. And the danger that has occurred due to the separation of the petitions is this. When the judgment was delivered, it was delivered as if the only aggrieved party was the former deputy president. That was not the case. The most aggrieved person in these petitions was the public. What did the public do? What did they get? The public elected our deputy president. That deputy president was removed. He was compensated with the public's money. The public suffers twice. Suffers for loss of the person they elected, and secondly, loses because the money that the deputy president is supposed to be paid is coming from public coffers. That was the biggest danger in the separation of the petitions which were dealing with the rights of this former deputy president and the petitions which were dealing with what the public wanted. The public got nothing, and the issues that the public were raising on these issues will remain undecided. So that is the reason we would have liked that the petitions be heard together, but they were not. So we will only proceed to deal with the issue of after the deputy president was impeached, there were conservatory orders issued by other judges. Those conservatory orders remained until they were vacated by the 3-judge bench. During that time, the facilitation and security of the deputy president was removed. And this is the biggest danger. If today, because we stand, according to the judgment we have, if today the Speaker of Senate decides that we have already impeached the president and the deputy president without any procedure, and gazettes that nobody can go to court because there is already a case that says that conservative. So what would happen? Immediately you remove them, you remove their security. And once you remove the security of the president or the deputy president, we know what can happen. There may not be a person to even approach the court due to the danger that would happen. The deputy president and the president are the most protected people, and if you remove that protection, then it means that you have already failed the people. That is it.
Thank you very much.